that was never my goal, And I remember like when I had, I don't know, like 200,000 followers, my friends, they told me like, oh, you should change your username to Amanda, and then you will be like famous. And I was like, no, I don't want this.
In these times of fast change, have you ever thought architecture might be falling a bit short and wondered, what's next? Well, let's find out. My name is Luca De Stefano. I'm one of the founders of None, and this is Boundary Breaking Businesses Beyond Architecture, designers and commissioners of tomorrow speaking today. Episode 6, The Architecture Influencer. Hello everyone, welcome back at Beyond Architecture. Now imagine this. You open your Instagram account, you check the number of followers, and there you see 3 million. How would it feel like? Today, we ask it to the biggest architecture influencer in the world. She started as an architecture student to hunt for creative content, and by the time she was graduating, she was already in the list of the Forbes Under 30. With Architecture Hunter, first an Instagram account and later on also a website, she has been curating and delivering architecture content for over 10 years. Today, we go to Brazil because at Beyond Architecture, we talk with Amanda Ferber. Amanda, welcome at Beyond Architecture. How are you?
Thank you, Luca. Very glad to be here. I'm good, and you?
Very good. Very happy to see you again.
Yes.
I'm excited to ask you one first question.
Okay.
How many followers does Architecture Hunter have today?
3.1 million now.
3.1 million. Okay. How does it feel to have this many followers? Like, is it a lot of pressure or did you get used to it already?
I don't know, like it's such a huge number that I cannot even understand what is like 3.1 million people, And it is a lot of pressure, but I think that not only for the big numbers, but for who are these people, because we have like Teoiro, Chenovel, Norman Foster, big architects, like they're following. So I think it's even more pressure because of those people who follows Architecture Hunter than only like the big numbers, It is a lot of pressure. Yes.
Wow. Okay. So not only big numbers, but also big names.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, we try to do a business podcast here, which is covering everything that is not yet architecture, but it goes around it or beyond. Mm-hmm. What are then the business opportunities that arise from having these many people and these big names following you, following your content, your feed? How do you guys make money? If I have to say it very straightforward.
Well, like some people think that actually like architects pay to for us to publish their work or something, because we got some like lots of emails of architects asking like, oh, how much it is for me to publish my project there, but actually like we never ever do like this, because we think that like if architects paid us to publish something in Architecture Hunter, this could like I know it wouldn't help in our creatorship credibility, so it's never with the architects. What we usually do is make partnerships with the brands, manufacturers, or developers, because since 70% of our audience are professionals, are like architects or designers, like some people who really work in this field, it's important for them to know what are the new, like products or things. So we always work with these brands or manufacturers, like furniture brands or manufacturers, windows manufacturers, so it's always with them. And we have like different formats. It can be about like a release, like a new product they are launching, or because we are going to make a video of a specific project that their product were specified. So it's more or less like this.
And so it's quite clear, architects don't pay to get published.
No.
The curatorship is still in your hands.
Yeah.
And then brands support your company in this effort of curating projects. So how do you guys select projects to publish?
That's the hardest question, actually, because, well, this year Architecture Hunter completed 10 years in June. And I don't know, like I've been doing this for literally like every single day for the past 10 years, so it's kind of like the curatorship, I don't know, get like intrinsic, like I just, it's so hard to put into words, like, what makes me feel like, oh, this is an architectural design that deserves to be seen by the world, it's so hard. But I try to do this exercise sometimes because lots of people ask this. So I think I would say like we always we're hunting for more like contemporary, minimalistic architecture and design, more clean lines, and also like things that have like they're meaningful for the world, like especially because lately we've been creating some new formats in content creation, so that we can really like go deeper in the information, so yeah, but this is the hardest question, definitely.
What to pick, huh?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
like you say a lot we, so what I assume is that there is a team working with you these days.
Yes. I think like the last time that we talked, it was probably only me and one intern, but now we are 15 people working in Architecture Hunter. I have 2 partners. They joined in 2020, and they have the background more like in business and also in video production. One of my partners, he used to own a company here in Brazil, a very big company, like video production company. They have already done like shows for Netflix, but like for Brazil, and for Global Play, that is like Brazilian Netflix, so he really has this background in more like cinematographic work, and my other partner, he also used to have a video production company, a bit smaller than Luis, but he would run the company. He was like more in this business side of the company, so it really, it's been a journey since 2020, since they joined, because I think we really like joined forces, and we're very like complementary, and of course with our team, very multidisciplinary too.
Well, quite interesting. You basically had to acquire expertise from other professionals in order to make the project grow, if I understand you right.
Exactly. I think like no one does anything only like by yourself, we need a team to do big things.
I think that's something a bit that architects have, right? This feeling that, oh, I'm so versatile, which is, I think, the number one quality of designers. But at the same time, that versatility makes you believe, oh, yeah, I can do whatever. Yeah, of course, I will learn in 5 minutes this editing software and start producing video the same way I'm doing with this podcast, by the way.
Yeah.
So it's really, it's a curse and a blessing at the same time. It's very cool to hear stories from people that actually bring on board experts that have other perspectives and see that projects benefit from it.
I think that like, of course, like anyone can learn anything. We always can learn if you focus on this. But if you really want to grow your business and you want to make bigger things, you have to focus on things you are good and be excellent, and find people that are naturally good in your weak points and let them be excellent in this, So I think that's why like our partnership, like my partnership with my partners here is so good, because I'm not good in what they are good, and they are not so good in what I'm good. So this way I can focus in what I'm good and be excellent, and same for them, So this way we can focus on different things and do more things.
I think this is the biggest advice that anyone can give to an entrepreneur. I love it. And it's funny how video was such a central driver to bring you guys together. And I think it's kind of the key feature now of what you mentioned. Like you have, of course, this 3 and more million of followers on Instagram, but there's also your web platform where you can experience all these videos.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to move to video? And more importantly, why did you decide that your way was curating and creating your own videos rather than doing what basically everyone does, like or the arch dailies around? They just repost content produced by others.
Well, like since high school, I've always been very interested in education and how people get information, like how like platforms that they use to get informed. And what I realized was that our generation and like the generations that are coming, they are reading much less than older generations. And it really concerned me. And also during architecture school, I was like writing like the moment where lots of really good magazines, especially here in Brazil, started to die, and I was worried, like, okay, like where is this all the students and people going to get like real information, like magazines that work with construction content, not only like inspiration and decor, but like really get informed on like new structure and new thing on architecture. And I said, okay, like I think like the new way of people to consume content is through videos, and I don't see any architecture platform really focusing on that. I see like sometimes some magazines and some platforms, they do some videos sometimes, but this is not their focus. And there was also another thing, like I remember during architecture school studying one specific project that is very famous here in São Paulo, Brazil. And we had to study so much about it. And my vision was that I knew everything about that project. But then one day we visited this project with the architects, and they show like so many other things. So I said, okay, like I didn't know anything about this project, because what I felt that day was, okay, there is nothing like hearing an architect talking about the work. It's a completely different experience. So I don't know. I think like these three things really got me into video, because I think that video is the tool that we have nowadays that we can really like focus on all this experience and do it like with like a higher frequency, I know like maybe with like VR and things we can do it even more, but I mean like I couldn't do like 3 projects in VR with the architect speaking, I don't know, like 3 times a week, So I think that video it was the best tool for us to do it like in a certain frequency. And I think videos have another layer that is like the emotional layer, that you really engage, you really make people dive into that and get engaged with the content, So that's why I think videos really got me at that time.
Yeah, I get basically that you guys work as almost like a communication agency.
Yeah.
So you take care of the whole process as if you would advertise or feature a project. That means really curating the communication for it, which I find to be kind of a nice added value for whatever brand collaborates with you or architect.
Yeah.
Are brands coming to you, or is it you guys reaching out to brands?
Both. And I'm very happy with this, because since Mateus and Luis joined us as partners, I remember like 2020 was the year that we focused all of our energies to go after brands and communicate like this new product that we're doing, like videos, So at that time, it was like more difficult in this, but nowadays, lots of companies, I'm exaggerating, but some companies know that we're working with this and how we work, and they come to us. So this is something we're very happy. I think that like can I say the name of brands here, or?
Of course,
yeah?
Go for it.
The ones that really, really like we got so happy was in last year, I think. Yeah, when Fritz Hansen, the furniture brand from Denmark, that has like 150 years, and it's so huge. And it had like one of the most important designers in the world working with them, designing furniture for them. They email us saying like, "Oh, we love your content, and we wanted you to do something for our 150 year anniversary." And Luis, my other partner, he is like the most the biggest design enthusiast in the world. So like he knows everything about like furniture design, and he was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe Chris Hansen notices," So like sometimes some brands get like they reach out to us. But we also we still do lots of prospects,
Yeah. Amanda, I'm gonna ask a difficult question.
Okay.
And if you cannot say, we cut it out.
Okay.
But I'm really curious at this point to understand how much would be for a brand to collaborate with Hunter. Like if, let's say, they wanted to have a sponsored video with you, how much would it be?
Actually, it's very hard because it really depends. Like in São Paulo, like since we are based here in São Paulo, it's much more easier for us. We can use our local team to go there. If it's, I don't know, like in Italy or in Denmark, that is much more expensive. So it really depends, actually. It depends on the format of the video, on how many days it will take us to make this video. It really, really depends. But like outside Brazil, is like, it usually starts in 10,000 euros. Because like video production is not that easy, but yeah. Usually it starts in this, but really varies, on the size of the project and the complexity of the video, but it doesn't have like a fixed price.
Okay, so this is a big call for everyone listening. If you have an extra 10K or a bit more and you want to feature a project and your brand, now that's affordable.
No, but there are also like other ways of communicating. Like we still work a lot of Instagram with photos, like this is for video production exclusively, of course. But like for other things that we receive the material and we have to work like with what we have different budgets, we can work for feed posts or stories, and it really varies a lot. So this is only for videos.
Okay, useful to know.
Yeah.
And Amanda, these 3 million people following you, are they all architects? Do you know? And how are they spread in the world? What do they do?
I love this question. So 70% of our audience are architects or architectural designers or interior designers, 70%. And this is actually something that we are very happy with, because I think that like if we are creating content on power architecture and most of our audience are like professionals of this field, it means that we are doing something meaningful for them, if we only had like enthusiasts, So we really like this percentage, like 30% of enthusiasts and 70% of professionals. And it's so nice to know. And I think this is the beauty of internet also, that like, it doesn't matter like where you're based, you can really reach out to the world, So, if we consider Europe as a whole, because like in Europe, countries are smaller when compared to some other countries. So Europe as a whole, we have 20%. So most of our audience are from Europe, 20%. And then in second comes USA with 9%, and then Brazil with 8%, India with 6%, Mexico 5%, Australia 3%, Canada 2.5%. And well, that's not 100%, of course, but that's like most of our audience are located. And also another 5% if you consider Africa as like the continent as a whole too. So that's more or less where our audience is. But I have something interesting.
Go for it. Go for it.
If we consider only countries, Italy is the 5th country that where most of our followers are from. 3% of our audience is from Italy. And I also love this because like if you consider USA, like this huge country, 9%, and Italy that is much smaller in size, 3% is very interesting to see like how many Italian followers we have, um,
Yeah,
especially because
it's crazy. Yeah.
yes, and especially because like Italy is so like focused and well known for architecture and design. So we are also very happy with it. This really tells us that we are doing something right too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can share some numbers as well because we did our very first episode with Ruth Schageman from the Architects Council of Europe, and we talked a lot about numbers of architecture in Europe. Turns out that Italy is, I think, if not the first, one of the first countries in Europe by amount of architects. And also the ratio architects per inhabitants is crazy high.
Wow.
So there's just too many architects in there, and they're all following you guys, which I find really funny.
It was so weird last year when I went to Milan Design Week. And then I realized this, like I had 1/3 of followers in Italy when compared to USA, that is huge. And I was like, okay, like how many architects exist in Italy and how many like of them are our followers? Like maybe, and because like I never appear in Architecture Hunter, like it's very, very rare, like my face, I was like, okay, like, so probably lots of people that I just like crossing here in the streets follow Architecture Hunter. And it's so weird because like, I don't know, the face of all of these people, and they don't know also who's behind Architecture Hunter, I think. So it was so like, it was, a weird thought that just came into my mind one day that I was just walking in Milan,
Yeah. But that's something I always appreciated of you. Like we are used to know influencers for their, lifestyle and so on. And it feels like you never gave into the temptation of showing your face and turning a hunter into the Amanda profile and making Amanda the influencer, not Hunter the influencer.
Yeah, no, like that was never my goal, And I remember like when I had, I don't know, like 200,000 followers, my friends, they told me like, oh, you should change your username to Amanda, and then you will be like famous. And I was like, no, I don't want this. And I also remember like after graduating and after really starting to take architecture more seriously, like as a company, not only as a hobby, lots of people, especially here in Brazil, that of course I used to connect much more because it's based here. Lots of other influencers, like design influencers, they used to say, you have to put your face in Architecture Hunter and you have to do this. And I was only 23 years old in 2018. So I was like, okay, I think I could got influenced by them because I could like they were older than me. They were probably they knew much more than me, But I just felt that no, this I don't know. It doesn't make a sense. I don't want I don't want Architecture Hunter to be like only like Amanda's blog, or something like this. I really wanted to do something bigger, and I don't know. It really never was a temptation. It really wasn't. It's just, and also because I used to be very shy, so I never wanted this attention,
And Amanda, since we went all the way back, I think I met you more or less around that time, around the 200,000 followers or so, when we were starting with non-architecture, we were still students as well. Can we go back there at the very beginning? Like, when did you decide, oh, Instagram, cool, I'm going to start posting some architecture in there?
It was in 2013. It was my first year in architecture school. And since a child, I used to say that I was going to be an architect when I grew up. And like I didn't have architects in my family, so that was not like an influence by anyone. I don't know why, but I just really liked architecture. And when I started architecture school, I started to really like studying it and studying theory about like architecture theory and history, like architecture history. I got so fascinated, and so excited. I get excited about things easily. So like about architecture was even more excited, So, and also in the beginning, of course, like our professors always tells us to do lots of research about projects. So I started saving lots of architecture photographs in my phone, just like for like reference for myself, for studies. And then in the end of the first semester, through June 3rd, 2013, I realized that I had so many incredible architecture pictures. And then I thought to myself, okay, the world needs to see this. I was only 18 at that time. So Instagram was created in 2010, but really got more popular in 2012. So it was really in the beginning of Instagram. And Instagram was about pictures. It was different from Facebook or other platforms that had, of course, like pictures also, but the focus of Instagram was pictures. So I decided to create an Instagram account. And at that time, people used to have their Instagram accounts only for personal reasons, like only for you to post your life. We didn't have Instagram influencers at the time, like what you consider today influencers were the like real bloggers that they had blogs, like fashion blogs. So really, I didn't have any clue that this would be something that huge, because we didn't have I didn't have any reference like back there. And I think that's also a very good thing, because I didn't have a goal like, I want to have 100,000 followers. Like I didn't have this goal. It was only a hobby. So every new follower was like, oh, that's so nice. Like all these people like what I like, so it was very genuine. And that's actually what made me, start doing it.
And when did you realize, okay, something is happening here? You said everything was pretty new. Instagram was new. So we didn't know how it could work, how big it could get.
Yeah.
When did you think, oh crap, maybe here I can have a job. Maybe this could be my life.
Well, I remember the day that Marcio Kogan started to follow Architecture Hunter, and I got shocked. Because like he really didn't know who was behind it. He didn't know that it was a Brazilian student. And I don't know why, but people usually they think the Architecture Hunter is from England. I don't know why, but yeah. So I knew that he had no idea like who was behind Architecture Hunter. And then one day one day I was like only like walking in the streets with my friend. It was her birthday, and then we saw like a wall, like a chalk wall that you can like draw. And then we started drawing, and then Marcia Kogan comes out from this building, and then it was her birthday, so we were like, oh my god, Marcia Kogan! Like she said, like I want a picture with him, and then we approached him and asked for a picture, and okay, that was it. And then like some months later, I'm really going to get a point, okay? Just follow the thinking. Yes. And then one day, I saw in his Instagram that he was going to do like an event to launch a new book with it was a new book of his work. And then I said, okay, I'm going to go in this event. And then I was so shy. Like, I think it took me like 30 minutes to get courage to approach him, to ask him to sign the book. And then he said, oh, wasn't you in front of my office another day, like months ago? And then I didn't know that actually like that chalk, wall was his office. I didn't know. And then I said, oh my God, he remembered. Okay. And then, I think like, he kind of like broke the ice. So I said, yes, Marcio, I have an Instagram page, that you follow. It's Architecture Hunter. And then he said, oh yes, I think you've been posting less lately. And then, okay, I realized, okay, like he really, yes, he pays attention to it. And then I said like, yes, like, schoolwork got me, like, I don't have any time. It's been difficult, but yeah. And then he said, oh, you should visit our office in one day, like, we'll be very welcome. And then I said, okay. And then I sent him a DM on Instagram, like from Architecture Center, asking if like I could really visit there. And then he said, okay, talk to Susanna. She's an architect here, and she's gonna prepare something to you. I didn't even know what he meant in like prepare something to me. And then they prepare like 2 week, like a 2 week program where like at that time, I think they used to have like around 30 architects working in the office. And then they prepare like a 2 week for me. So like in the morning, I would spend, the morning with one architect, and then in the evening with another architect. And they would, show me everything that they were doing. And this week, in 2 weeks, I would have, class with all the architects. And then it's like, okay, like, why are they doing this? For me, and this actually became my internship there. It was supposed to be only 2 weeks, but then I was like started helping them, and then this was it became an internship, and I was actually the first intern in the history of studio in the history of Studio MK27. They didn't have interns at that time, so I was the first. And then I think that's what made me realize, okay, like Architecture Center, like opened that huge door for me. What else can it do for me? So what else can it do for me? So I think that's the moment where I realized, okay, there's something else. It's not only like a hobby; it can be something else. I think that was the day.
Beautiful story. I like it a lot. It's very personal.
Yes.
And I think it's fun to see how this thing changed for you. Like how sometimes we have something in our life and there is one moment that makes us see that something differently. All of a sudden, there's a whole new path that opens the way.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you ever had this kind of same feeling with Instagram. Like Instagram was the place where you started, where you grew really fast.
Yeah.
I remember I really saw you from the very beginning all the way to millions of followers. Did you ever notice something changing on the platform itself? Like to say, oh, wow, this thing used to work in one way and today is working completely different.
Yeah.
Either an acceleration or a deceleration.
Deceleration. I think especially in like the past 2 years, past year, it's been much more difficult for us. Much more difficult because it used to grow much faster. We used to have much more engagement, and I think that like TikTok really got Instagram worried, So I feel that like since TikTok really like grew when people started really to use TikTok, algorithms in architecture in Instagram changed, and I think that I don't see this as a healthy thing for Instagram at all, because now I think that like the platform is focused much more in like people, So like for so like for Architecture Hunter, the engagement is not as it used to be, but as for like for my personal profile, it's never been so good, And I didn't want that. I want Architecture Hunter actually to have like still have good engagement as we used to have,
Yeah.
So I think that like Instagram is focusing more on people, not only in content and not only in curatorship, and not only in like, not personal content. And also, of course, it's focusing a lot in videos, but not the type of videos that we've been doing that is showcasing architecture, that is interviewing architects, but it's more, not that deep content, like more easy to consume, like fast content. So that's not good for us at all. Because I think that like we've been in this platform for 10 years. And what I feel is that the focus on Instagram, I know like the path of Instagram has been like the less deeper content that you have, the bigger audience you will have, the bigger engagement you'll have, and our focus has been the opposite. So we've been getting like deeper content through this 10 years. So we're doing like this, So I don't think that's good. And this has like really been a struggle for us, because we used to have much more partnerships with brands in Instagram, not only for videos, but on Instagram. And now like Instagram just don't give like spotlights for us like we used to do, like it used to do for us. So like now companies are more interested like in our videos than only our content in Instagram, which is good. But also on the other side is not that good, because we spend much more like money in producing content in video, so business wise, it's been difficult for us on Instagram because we don't have the same numbers as we used to do. Yeah.
If I think about the way it went and I hear what you're telling me now, it feels like at the very beginning you had a very good winning formula. It was still images that would be speaking to a lot of people, and that's why it went really fast. And all of a sudden in recent times, Instagram is kind of changing the shift. It's not anymore about this one visual, about elegance, about beauty. It's really about this TikTok mentality, TikTok algorithms.
Yeah.
I feel you, because we have the same. Like we grew very fast. 2013 was a golden year. I think 2013 to 2016, things went amazing for people that just wanted to share beautiful architectural drawings or photos. But in the last year and a half to get 5,000 followers, it took us a year. And we had 55. So from 55 to 60,000, it took us a year.
Exactly. I think 2020 was like one of the best moments, like for our Instagram algorithm. And at that time, like we used to gain 20,000 followers per week.
Jeez.
Yes, per week. So I mean, like every month, like every 5 weeks, we were gaining like 100,000 followers, so we grew so fast. And now like we've been like kind of stuck in 3.1 for months, so it really changed. We really changed. Like not only like growing in numbers, but also in engagement of like for each post, so our back there, our average of likes used to be like 30,000 likes in one post. And like, a bad post was when it had like 20,000. And now like to have 20,000 likes in one post, it happens like in every like 2 months,
Yeah.
So, and it's like, wow, 20,000 likes. Wow, a lot. And yeah.
I think it's quite, there's two reactions. There's the reaction of, first, the numbers you mentioned, I think no one in the listeners is familiar with those numbers. So you speak as if they were very normal, but they're not, of course. But on the other hand, it's also true, like things changed enormously. What type of content do you think for architecture could work today? Like something that would be very algorithm friendly. Like imagine someone would want to become an architecture influencer, the next hunter, and they start from scratch. What is the winning formula these days?
I think that actually, I think I actually wouldn't tell an architect to go for this winning formula on Instagram, because the winning formula, it can make you grow in platform, but on the other hand, will it make it grow you as a professional? Probably not, So I see like content that really get attention and Instagram engagement are like controversy and today is much more difficult for architects to grow in a platform and still have a relevance, and still like do what you really want to do, that is like design, so I think today, like, I don't know, it's just much more difficult. But I don't want, of course, architects not to focus on Instagram, because on the other side, it really helps. It really is like a marketing tool for architects. It's very important. It's just that, like, I would say, like, don't focus on having millions of followers, because for you to have millions of followers today, probably you're not going to really like be like well positioned like you won't have like a good branding probably, you know. So I think like don't focus on millions of followers today. Just focus on being authentic, really showcasing your work. And maybe you won't have millions of followers nowadays, but you will have thousands, and this is still a lot, you know. So I think like, okay, the Instagram really helps when you like put your face there, you know, so, it helps. But I also don't like this, that like, oh, okay, so the only way for you to like really grow, you have to put your face, because like, so like if you're shy, if you don't want to do this, and if you want only to really like showcase your work, Instagram can't be an option for you. No, of course it can, you know. But I don't know. I think I would just say like, just focus on showcasing your work, being true, being authentic, and you will grow. Like you will get attention from people, from the right people, you know, maybe not like go viral, but I think, I don't know, the focus shouldn't be on just growing and being like enormous on platforms, you know? Yeah.
I like it because it really speaks to like a lot of marketing consultants would tell you, you don't need 1 million followers. You need 1,000 followers that could be 1,000 potential clients.
Exactly.
That's already enough for you to get a lot of good work. So as you say, if you speak to a specific niche and your work is good, it's going to speak to that niche. That's going to be enough. I like it. I like the approach.
Yeah.
It's funny that it comes from someone with 3 million followers, but I find it really cool.
Yeah.
And Amanda, there is always this last question I ask to every guest, which is a more general advice for people running their own firm today or already quite far in their career. What would be your advice for them?
I think it couldn't be different. Like the advice couldn't be different from anything we've been saying here. And I think like in the past hour we've been talking about like partnering with people that are complementary to your skills, being authentic, being doing like what you really believe, and not only doing things to get attention, you know, because I think this is not like a long-term strategy, you know. So, but I think sometimes as architects, because we are so multi-skilled, we want to do everything by ourselves, and we can learn a lot, but I think we shouldn't. We have to trust in people. We have to understand that if we want to do something else, something bigger, we have to do with other people, you know, build relationships, find people that has like the same values, the same beliefs, and everything, but has complementary skills. You know, the same vision, but complementary skills. I think this would be the biggest advice, because sometimes I see lots of architects friends, and they want to do like everything by themselves. You know, like they want to design, they want to create, they want to do all the drawings and take the pictures of the project and everything. And okay, like if you do everything by yourself, you're going to do like one project maybe. And if you trust in people, you will maybe do more projects, more valuable things, you know. And I think like sometimes the problem is to like, don't think that you are the only person that can do things right, you know, like spend some time in finding people that has the same value and will go with you. And then I think we'll go further if we do things with people, you know. But of course, I think the most important thing is to have like values aligned. That's the
cool.
Yeah.
And what about instead those that are a bit younger? Maybe they are starting their career now or finishing their studies. Do you have any advice for them?
I think like for students, I would say have as much professional experience as you can, because like I know that like sometimes during school we tend to think that the only way for architecture students is to design. And actually there are so many other things that we can do, you know, like I don't design nowadays. Like I don't design anymore. Like I'm not a traditional architect. But I communicate architecture and I do it with so much passion. I'm so happy with this. I think there are ways in like working only with theory, with history. I don't know, like there's so many things we can do in architecture. And sometimes I think that this tendency of thinking that we only have our design after as an option after school really makes sometimes like some students froze and think, oh, this is not for me, like and they feel that they are not going to be successful and they're going to be unhappy. And I think I'll say like try to have as much like different professionals experience during school, because this is the time that you have to test out things, so try to do an internship in a huge office and a smaller office, in a platform, I don't know, like in so many things, because this is where you're going to see where your heart is, so I think for especially students, I would say this. And also for younger architects that have like recently graduated, I see lots of friends like after 5 years of graduation, they say like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I hate designing. I don't want to do this, but I studied years for this, so I will do this. And I think that like this is not also like a good decision, because you're very young. Like it doesn't matter if you studied 5-7 years to be an architect, and then after this you realize that you don't want to follow like a traditional path, just because you studied like 7 years. Like you prefer to lose like I don't know, the next 40 years because of 7 that you study.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just think we have to. I don't know. It's a cliche, but like follow your heart, to understand where you want to be. Such a cliche, but I think you get what I mean. Just
it's perfect.
Yeah.
And I think it links very well to another episode we recorded with Jake Radin from Out of Architecture, which was very similar. So you're in good company there, Amanda.
Good.
Well, I want to thank you very much for joining us today. It was really nice. It was nice to catch up after so many years.
Yeah.
And you brought a lot of energy. So thank you.
Thank you, Luca. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's an honor for me. And I really wish all the good luck and success with the podcast. I think it will be amazing. And well, thank you very much.
Thanks. Such a good talk with Amanda, and quite inspiring to see not only how professionally Hunter developed, but also her personal story, how she is and her approach towards such a big social media presence. Now we do something that is kind of a tradition for this podcast. At the end of every conversation, we take a moment to think of a boundary-breaking business model idea inspired by our guest. Here is the one from this week. The content creator. We talked with Amanda. We talked about the way social media changed, the way Instagram changed from the very early days in which curating visuals was a winning recipe, and today instead doesn't work that well anymore. That made me think that over time, the mediums change. We go from books to magazines to television to social media, and all the way now to this hyperactive communication of short videos and clips and very personal memes. I wonder if in every age there was someone that captured what we call the spirit of time and managed to communicate something meaningful in a language that was very modern and very actual, and a kind of step forward from what everything else used to be. I can imagine what Amanda did at the very beginning of Instagram was pretty groundbreaking, if you think about it. Imagine this is a new tool, no one knows anything about it, and then all of a sudden this girl comes, starts posting amazing content, and it grows super fast. Well, I really believe that these times are challenging, that especially if you want to do meaningful content with a certain intellectual or professional value, of course the algorithms are not at your side. But I'm sure, and this is my challenge for you, there must be creative ways to do something meaningful with architecture and use storytelling, even with the algorithms of today, even with the platforms of today, or why not, even with new ones, new platforms. So here's the business model idea. Start creating content in a way that revolutionizes the way we have been telling architectural stories before, and at the same time captures an innovative way to take advantage of the spirit of our time and also the way platforms work today. This could fit very well with the boundary-breaking business model concept we illustrated last week when we talked with Jake Rudin, the side gig. So the idea that you would have a business that would only work 1 day a week, and for the rest you would be dedicated to your main profession. So what do you think about it? I'm really curious to hear your idea for this type of boundary-breaking business model. So reach out. Channels are the usual. Known A Podcasts on Instagram and Known A on LinkedIn. Also, whatever platform you're using to listen to this podcast right now, could be YouTube, could be Spotify, just subscribe or follow and give us a little rating. We really, really appreciate it. That's it from my side. I hope you enjoyed and I'll see you next week. Beyond Architecture is a Known A podcast. This episode has been developed with the financial support of the Dutch Creative Industries Fund. Editorial support and marketing for Known A, Marco Mattia Cristofori, Daniela Silva, and Francisco Rivera. Sound supervision by Daniel van de Poppe for Spraakmaker Media. Advisory, Max Augustijn, Martine Chloe van de Bomen, Francesco De Stefano, and Anne Bruna. I'm Luca De Stefano, your host, and this was Beyond Architecture.